Hey guys, happy week 6 and almost week 7. Hope you had a good weekend. So as far as talking about last week's videos, and like walking or watching everybody's videos, I thought it was kind of funny that we all kind of came up with the same verses. It's kind of just interesting to think about how as a collective, like as Christians as a collective group of people, we have those specific verses that like when we are introduced to the faith are immediate, like the verses that we get kind of confused by and bring to our leaders and say, what does this mean? I don't get it. So as being a newer believer, being saved when I was in high school, it was kind of interesting to walk through kind of that whole interpreting the Bible literally, the entire concept, a whole other time, and revisiting it and like watching you guys like hash through it and talk about um, just the way that you approached that and the way you would go through explaining what it means to figure out what's literal and what's something that is a little bit more symbolic. It was like really awesome to like hear what you guys had to say about that. So moving on to this week for Revelation, I will start this by saying I am not a person who spends a lot of time on Revelation. It really intimidates me, and I'm very grateful for this class because of what it's teaching. But it's not a book I'm comfortable with in the slightest. Um, so as far as so talking about literalism and symbolism, like as you obviously know what that means. Um, in regards to like how it helps with the book of Revelation, I'm really grateful for understanding the differences between literalism and symbolism. However, I personally still have a really difficult time hashing out what needs to be interpreted in what direction. So I have a tendency, like my personal, like the way that I work through that is I kind of look at it in both ways and then see what way kind of makes more sense and which way I feel connect with the rest of Revelation well, and like other books of the Bible as well, because Revelation is a book that relies so heavily on the more symbolic side of things. I think it's nice to pair it up against something a little bit less um, symbolic, if that makes sense. Um, so the verse that I was going to use to like show the distinction is 21. Trying to find the number. 21:2, which is, and I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as the bride adorned for her husband. And when I first read this, when I first became a Christian, I literally thought it meant like the city of Jerusalem, like the literal city is going to descend and will be like dressed in a veil and like ready to like marry her husband. And I was very confused by it. And so kind of walking through this and realizing um, symbolism is so key in like reading that and recognizing what that means and this idea that Jerusalem um, is us as a unit coming together to be with Christ, and then what that unit will look like in this biblical depiction of what we have known as marriage as humans and what we will know in the future with marriage with Jesus, and like that intimacy of knowing him fully and like being with him and just the excitement that goes along with that. But like in that, I feel like that the reason I picked that is because I feel like it kind of branches on the literal side of things, but it also kind of dips into the more symbolic side of things in a really nice way. Because like marriage was made to look like Christ in the church. As you can see, like I think it's First Corinthians that just like talks about that and like the woman's role and the man's role and like how those work together, and how they're both they work so well together, because it's God's plan. And then so there's this literal idea of like marriage, but then also this symbolic idea of us being like Jerusalem, like it's all of it's us marrying Jesus, but it's not like literally like a city descending. Oh, there's a bug on the wall. Sorry. But like descending from the sky, if that makes sense. So I just thought those were really good things that like paired together to show both the literalism and the symbolism. Um, and like it's really easy to apply in my life, just because of the conscious reminder that this isn't the end for us all, and that like we're all like going towards the same end goal, which is just unity with Christ, which is just every day to be reminded of that. I just wish I could be reminded of that more, because it just really puts things in perspective, and nothing really seems that bad to know that at the end of it all, you're going to like see Jesus face to face. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great week, and I look forward to seeing your videos. See you guys. Bye.